So good day everyone. So course is MTEC 102, period prelim, week 2, session 1. So the topic is procedure for safe mooring, deployment and monitoring for mooring for cargo ship. Next, so the course outcome is procedures for safe mooring to be determined and monitoring for mooring for cargo ship. Learning outcome, students should be able to determine the procedure for safe mooring and monitoring for mooring for cargo ship by the end of the session. So the group member is Premacio, Quines, Roble, and Rado. Next, mooring operation in port. Next, the master should ensure that all important factors affecting safe mooring of the vessel throughout the duration of port stay are monitored and recorded. So this may include, first is weather condition, both present and forecasted. So always check the weather condition if it is good to operating the cargo. And second is tide and current range. So and also check the tide, current. So this is important because if there tide or current, it's hard to operating the mooring if the ship is moving. So third is traffic movement in the vicinity where applicable. So fourth is interval of mooring patrols depending upon above factors. Next, so maintenance of mooring equipment. So my group will to continue the report.
This is Cadet Arvin Premacio. So, brake testing. Mooring equipment on board should be maintained in good working condition so as to ensure secure safety in mooring operation. Planned maintenance schedules include the requirements for annual brake testing of our mooring winches using the test kit provided on board. So, before executing mooring, we must inspect the mooring testing and the brake testing and also the working condition of the field, especially the mooring operation. Next, this includes testing brake holding power, rendering and adjustment to ensure rendering of mooring winch brakes at optimum stress to reduce the risk of injury from overstressed mooring. Such procedures must meet applicable OCIMF guidelines, and which winch brake should be marked after testing and brakes to be set at the correct tension setting while in use. Record of spare inventory is to keep on board and use spare replenish. This includes testing brake holding powers and to reduce the risk of injury from overstressed mooring. So we must conduct inspection of brake testing and also in operation. Oil Companies International Marine Forum (UCIMF) is a voluntary association of oil companies having an interest in the shipment and terminaling of crude oil products, petrochemicals and gas, and includes companies engaged in offshore marine operations supporting oil and gas exploration, development and production.
Good day, sir, and everyone. I'm the Cadet Johnrowen and Rado. We'll tackle about the replacement of wires, ropes, and tails. For all mooring ropes, wires, tails, and shackles, a record of certificates, replacement date, and specific winches to which they are fitted is to be maintained. The PMS procedure includes inspection intervals for all mooring equipment and also covers end-to-end and renewal procedures. So ropes, wires, and tails shackles are required to be replaced because mooring and unmooring operations are one of the hazardous tasks on ship. Many fatal injuries and even death of the crew due to damaged rope, wires, and etc. A specific intensive vessel trading patterns may warrant a more frequent change of spares, such as mooring rope tails. Such intervals may be shorter than that prescribed in OCIMF guidelines, standard for replacing mooring wires on some tankers designated as below. So, head and stern lines replacing 7.5 years and reversing end to end 3.75 years. For spring or bridge lines replacing 5 years and reversing 2.5 years.
Maintenance of mooring equipment container ship. Ensure that all brake drums and linings are suitably dried and clean of salt deposits. The frequently greasing of moving part, all rotating parts of the mooring equipment, which would include rulers, fairleads, wrench drum, deck stands, must be moved and lubricated on frequent basis. Next. Characteristic of mooring ropes below mentioned in use should be acknowledged by all staff who are engaged in the mooring operations. 1. Materials and type of thread. Threads are either made of natural fiber, cotton, wool, silk, linen, or synthetic fiber, rayon, polyester, nylon, while there are dozens of fiber types that could be twisted and spun into thread. There are a handful of common fibers that are used in sewing, quilting, serging, and embroidery. Number 2. Safe working load. Safe working load, sometimes stated as the normal working load, is the maximum safe force that a piece of lifting equipment, lifting device, or accessories can exert to lift, suspend, or lower a given mass without fearing of breaking, usually made on the equipment by the manufacturer. 3. Stretching ratio. The stretch ratio of extension ratio is a measure of the extensional or natural strain of a differential line element, which can be defined at either the unformed configuration of the deformed configuration. It is a defined the ratio between the final length I and the initial length L of the material line. Anti-abrasion water tightness against seawater. Next, for all mooring ropes, a recorded certificate replacement date and a specific winches to which they are fitted is to be maintained. If mooring ropes are observed major damage or heavy corrosion, report to the company for the replacement.